What's up? What's up, guys? This is Dennis here, aka D-Span. I decided I wanted to make this video because I've been speaking to the camera as if a lot of you already know who I am based on my core audience, but I'm realizing, I'm getting a little bit more traffic now. I'm starting to promote myself, so I decided to do a proper introduction for the new people who don't know who I am. So I'm 38 years old, the big 4-0's approaching. It's one of the things that motivated me to do this. But anyway, so I've been a martial artist for about 18 years, on and off now. It's been a big part of my life. Growing up, I was in and out of athleticism, I've always been up and down. So when I was a kid, my dad put me into Little League, so I did that for like 2 years, and it was fun, but I didn't really care, it's just a thing that, your parents force you to do. And then after that, it was all video games and sedentary lifestyle for a kid. Didn't go out much for years, all through high school. I was really out of shape. I was in terrible shape. I was a teenager trying to be cool, so I picked up bad habits. And then, in gym class, we would have the running test. That would be like one of my most feared things to go through, like for real. It was so embarrassing for me because I would come in like last, or like be one of the last kids to come running in. I couldn't breathe, my lungs were on fire. It's pretty rough. I hated gym class, sucked at basketball. That's all we did really in my school. Like gym class, okay, go play basketball, do some layups. Couldn't even do any layups. I still suck at basketball, but that's besides the point. I've always been obsessed with martial arts though. Street Fighter, that was my earliest love for martial arts. I've been playing those games since they first came out. I love them. It's just a core part of my being. And, I picked it up again recently. And the other thing I love, of course, is martial art movies. I was watching fake Bruce Lee movies that weren't even Bruce Lee, thinking it was him, but it didn't matter to me. I was a kid, and, I just loved the choreography and everything. So basically, when I was about 18, I started seeing like the real Bruce Lee. I started watching his movies, and it was a huge inspiration for me. I don't know why. It was like an epiphany. That's usually how things happen for me. It just, one day my life changes based on an idea. So coincidentally, not too long after that, a friend of mine, Ronald, shout out to you if you're watching this. I remember this. I don't know if you remember this, bro. He just calls me out the blue because we were hanging out back then, and he was just like, oh, yo, I saw the school in the city, and it was Jeet Kune Do. It was Bruce Lee style. It was like, I felt like it was a sign. So I just started charging the tuition on a credit card I couldn't afford. It was something that my mom got for me when I went to school. So, I was making those payments, and I went in, and that first day, man, bruh, to this day, I've never been that sore in my life. I pushed myself so hard just to get down on the ground and do those push-ups. And this school was actually pretty tough. Like, back then, those Jeet Kune Do schools were like a bit more like, they beat your ass, But still, I loved it, because it wasn't just Jeet Kune Do. They were teaching that, they were teaching Muay Thai also. So that was my introduction to Muay Thai. And I was like, oh, this is like Sagat style, And it all started making sense. So I went there for a couple of months, couldn't afford it, unfortunately, so I left. And then I continued my training in a school in Queens. Did a couple years there, had some good instructors there. At this place, I would brawl out, I remember there was some good sparring sessions. Shout out to Eric, he was the instructor there at the time. Basically, we would just spar, and he wouldn't hold back, and I would appreciate it. He would just keep driving me to just come back at him, and that school really shaped me. Did a couple years there. I started loving boxing at this place. Not too long after that, I started working in the Bronx. I used to work for Pathmark back in the day, and I met this dude who worked there who was a boxing coach, and we just started talking, and he took me to a boxing gym in the Bronx, like the real deal, like sweat box, like tape on the bags, like this was the real shit. There were fighters coming out of this gym. So, he put me to work. I learned new ways to hit the pads. I learned new exercises, and it was great. I didn't do it long, but the little bit of time I was there, I learned a lot because I didn't work in the Bronx long. I hated it. I came back to Queens. The other problem was I did too much because I was doing that, and then I was working at Pathmark, unloading trucks and things like that. So I was active all day. You know, I would go to work, train, go home, do it all over again. And then there was even a point when I was doing that and the Muay Thai, and yeah, so at one point, this is my first injury, this is the first obstacle, so I got a bulging disc, and it really messed me up. So that put a damper on my training, and I've been battling that my whole life, and it's gotten a lot better, but that was my first, wake-up call that, hey, things happen, and you can be hurt doing this. That was my introduction to physical therapy. I met a cool dude who was a friend with my Sifu at the school I was still going to for Jeet Kune Do. And yeah, he was a cool guy. I learned a lot. He broke down range of motion and joint stability and all this stuff. And like, because we had mutual friends, so he was a lot more open with me. I learned a lot from this guy. I love to shout people out, but I think I'll get to that at some other point. So moving along, I ended up hating life in New York at the time, moved to Florida, went to a boxing gym there. It was okay, I got to continue my training, but it was more of a commercial type spot. I left Florida, I came back, and then, yeah, there was a break there. There was a pretty long break there after that, I couldn't afford to go anywhere else. I was kind of in a dark spot there. And then I started doing sales. I started finally working sales, and I started making a bit more money. And then that was when I hit rock bottom. I was at 260, I think, at the time. I'll post the pictures. They're on my Instagram. You can see it. That picture always gets a lot of traction. So yeah, that was pretty bad. And then it took the point where my mom had to be like, she made a comment one day. I was shopping for shirts or something like that, and she was just like, "Oh, don't forget, you got bigger." And she said it was like a lot of concern, and I was just like, damn, she's right. Like, she's a Virgo, I'm a Virgo, like, when we gotta say it, we're gonna say it. And like, it wasn't even malicious the way she said it. I was just like, damn, mom took out the time to really like let me know, like, hey man, you got big. So yeah, that was it. That was a wake up call. Plus I had plantar fasciitis and knee problems, and like, I was a mess. I ate like crap. I drank a lot. I kept going out to eat with my girlfriend at the time. Man, it was just indulgence, because I never made that much money. It was the first time doing sales. Then after that, I ended up getting inspired to go to a gym, started just doing the basic treadmill and running, and then like, I'm on the treadmill and I'm just like, this isn't fun. I don't like doing this. Like, the thing that got my blood pumping was getting in the gym, sparring, doing pad work, like martial arts, man, the hard shit. So I just started looking around. I'm on the treadmill, just like looking at schools, and then I found one. I was like, oh, they do Jeet Kune Do and boxing. So I went to this other place, and I was there for many, many, many years. That was the place I probably trained at the longest at one time. And I met a lot of good people there, a lot of good connections there. A lot of you are still following me. A lot of you I want to train with soon this summer. So yeah, because they had a dedicated boxing class, so it got me to really start to develop a real love of boxing, because I've always loved watching it as a sport, but it was always, for me, when I trained, it was mostly Muay Thai and the Jeet Kune Do. So with boxing, it's a different stance. Like, you got to get low. You got to get in there. Muay Thai, you're upright, and you still use the same combinations. You still jab, cross, hook, whatever, but it's a whole different posture. It's a different game. Boxing is like, you got to get in there. Your reaction time picks up. Anyway. So yeah, I spent a lot of years there. I put a lot of time in there and put a lot of effort in there, and the returns came back, and I got to the best shape ever in my life. And then I even started teaching the boxing class for a bit, and that was what inspired me to be a teacher. And I loved it so much, so I got my NASM certification. I taught it to myself, no classes. I just took that textbook and I just drilled it into my head. Failed the first time, went back, mastered the questions, killed it. I was so proud of myself. And that was it. Things were uphill from there, A lot of things happened in my life, but I want to keep this short into the training. I'm trying to keep this video short. So yeah, got the NASM certification, and I just kept researching, and that's, I do that as a hobby, I just look up health videos, I take notes. I'm so fascinated by just health, and I feel like health education is literally the most important education you can possibly have. Why wouldn't you want to live longer? Why wouldn't you want to feel better? Why wouldn't you want to just live pain-free? So that's been my dream for a while, just find a way to keep learning and keep sharing information. I always try to find a balance between like being the guy that would like, you don't want to eat around because he's judging you, or I don't want to impose advice on people. Like, I was that guy for like a year or two, and then I learned, okay, let me stop. So I just keep my mouth shut, and I'm just like, listen, I just tell people, if you need help, I'm here for you, because I've been through it all. I've had tremendous weight gain and loss. I know what works, I know it doesn't. And even I made a lot of mistakes. That's the thing. I can say I've had every injury: bulging disc, joint pain, inflammation, knee problems, foot surgery, bruised rib, back problems, neck problems. I've had every kind of therapy. I've been in the MRI machine probably more than most people you know. Like, it's cake to me. I go there, I just chill. I'm like, all right, here's another one. It's probably not that good that I've done so many. So, and that's it. I just want to spread awareness. So what happens now is that I gained a lot of weight again during the pandemic. I think most of us did, right? In 2020, I was really going hard. I was posting on Instagram a bit back then. If you look at my feed, you'll see. And I was hosting classes. I was training with my manager at the time. We got cool, and he just wanted to train, and we just started training, and then we started sparring, and then was getting the fire back. And other people joined in and started teaching classes, started taking care of myself a bit, running, jogging, bike riding. I bought a bike. It's the first time I biked since I was a kid, and I love it. I'm looking at my bike right now. I can't wait to get back on it. But I did too much too quickly, and I think, I did too many push-ups. I would be doing push-ups at work, and my body wasn't ready for it, right? So I developed 2 tears in my shoulder, and that just benched me. And then I feel like I just lost my identity because I couldn't punch anymore, and it was bad. And I was doing the therapy, but nothing was really helping. So all through 21, sedentary. Like, I'm gonna take my bike out a couple times that summer, but I was eating like crap anyway, so it didn't make a difference. And so I gained like 30 pounds. I was 210 at one point, so it was pretty bad. And no exercise, so it was pure fat, pure just fat gain, and everything got weaker. And long story short, so I needed to be competitive in something. Like, I have a competitive spirit, so I picked up Street Fighter again because I didn't really play competitively. Like, I kind of just quit that game for a long time because I sucked at it. As much as I loved it, I sucked at it. I didn't know how to play it properly. For those gamers out there watching, I would map strong punch and kick to square and X on the PlayStation controller. So I'd put strong here, and I would ignore the light and medium buttons, and I would just attack with strong all day. Like, I was bad, but I knew the motion inputs, I knew the fireballs, I knew how to do all that. But it was anyway. So I was like, let me sit down and learn this. I actually bought an arcade stick, and I learned the intricacies, and I started getting good, and the competitiveness started waking up in me. And once I started winning matches, I was like, all right, I need to get better. It was this fighting spirit. And many people who know me will hear me say that, like, my fighting spirit awokened. And then I started realizing my hands started hurting a bit, so I had to look up therapy exercises for the hands, and I want to share those with you, by the way. And just different warm-ups and ways to take care of your hands, because I had thumb pain. So all those years of boxing and Muay Thai kind of took a toll on my hands, my big, beautiful hands here. So, my joints were a little weak, and this thumb always gave me problems. I really jammed it one time. So I started looking up the therapy exercises. I was doing the exercise, and then, it just mind-body connection. I'm like, all right, but I need to do wrist work because I got pain here. Let me do some elbow. Wait, I got to do tricep work, and then it just started expanding. And I was like, I need to just take care of all of this, right? And then that was it. So I started looking at physical therapy exercises, working out the body again, using bands, and then, it just, it hit me. I was like, I need to start doing this again. I started eating a certain diet, which I'm going to share. I want to keep this short. And that's inspired me to come back to YouTube and Instagram and give this one last shot. I figured I've let myself down so many times in the past with my fluctuations. And another thing I want to talk about, which is ADHD, which is a topic I really have passion for. That I will introduce that soon, just not yet. So that was it. So I wanted to just share this with everybody. I wanted to hold myself accountable publicly by giving status updates on my Instagram, showing you and educating everybody exactly what all the words mean, how to track your own progress, because we all gained weight. Let's keep it real. I think there's a small percentage of us that kept it going during the pandemic, but most of us, we gained weight, we became solitary, we decided to stay away from people because we don't want to catch what they got. and it just became human nature to avoid people and be isolated, and that only leads to weight gain because you stop caring what people think about you. And that's what happened to me. So now the world is opening up again. Hopefully it's going to stay this way, and for me to continue down this path, I need to embrace humanity, embrace people again, love people, and just share the message. So my intentions are to do it in a fun way. I want to make those videos like you saw in my definitions video. I'm going to add some comedy in there, and I'm going to give status updates on my own progress through here on Instagram with my video logs. I'm going to start the ADHD awareness once I get more subscribers. That's going to be a whole different thing. And I want to drop these definitions and make it fun, so that way people of all ages can look at it, and this is stuff that everybody should know. Because nobody wants to sit and watch some dude in a white lab coat just drone on about whatever. I mean, let's keep it real. We don't have the attention span we used to, me especially. I'm trying to keep it like 5 minutes or less, this video the exception. But everything's going to be quick backs. So stay tuned. I'm going to keep you updated. Oh, and I do want to put up some martial arts content, sparring videos if I can get them going this summer, and some fun stuff down the line. And of course, I am a gamer, so I like to drop little gaming jokes here and there. You're going to see it in my thumbnail, and I'm going to expand on that too. So we in this together. Let's do this. Peace, span out. Peace.